Welcome back to the Third Wheel Podcast. I'm Caleb.
I'm Shaps.
We have a crazy episode because this is our first recording post me getting married. So we took a little bit of a break, right? Let me tell you, the stuff I came back to was kind of crazy.
Honestly.
Okay, I've been gone for, a week? No, I guess we kind of delayed shooting for about 2 weeks while we do honeymoon stuff and get settled in as a newly married couple. And in the process of the 2 weeks I was gone, history was made.
I made the most successful Let's Play episode ever.
Yeah.
That was historical.
Bands broke up. Hollywood actresses got their jobs back.
Yeah.
Like, the world is totally different. Okay, this is what I come back to.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay, we got a lot to talk about. So, I want to talk about starting with, let's see, how do we word this? Over the weekend. Well, actually, do you know what day it was specifically? Let me look.
Also Australian time, so.
Oh, no. Well, it's only a couple hours, isn't it? Or is it? They don't have day differences.
Australia?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it is.
Oh. All right, hold on. All right, July 17th, okay? Where were you July 17th?
July 17th, probably home in bed.
Let's see, I got married on June 29th. So we're back from the honeymoon at this point, but we're still kind of getting settled in. July 17th, 2024, Trump was giving a speech, okay, at a rally.
Yeah.
Normal day, okay? When all of a sudden, 3 gunshots went off, one of them nicking him in the ear. And let me tell you, well, actually, that's for a later bit. I heard some funny jokes about people's hearing, you know what I mean? But that's for another time. Okay. So we will always want to avoid getting political on this show. So, but I think somebody attempting to assassinate a big historical figure, especially someone like the president, that's such a big event. Whether you're Democrat or Republican or even Libertarian, you know, or something, Green Tea Party, like it doesn't matter. It's a big historical event when the president or even a former president has an attempted assassination on them. Now,
this is the last, just for the record, so people know, the last assassination attempt to this scale was with Reagan. So it was like 40 years ago.
Now, Reagan was a bit interesting too because he was on the street walking to his car and the dude walked up and shot him.
Yes, and
you know what I mean?
Secret Service were with him, and they didn't do a full head-to-toe check. So now they do that. Basically, they check to see if there are any like gushing wounds or anything, because they assumed Reagan wasn't shot. They brought him in the car, and he actually was, and he almost bled to death. So with Trump, for instance, the reason they kept him there for a little bit, at least people speculate, is that one, they want to make sure the shooter was gone, because like if they're just running in the streets, then open target. And then they were also checking to see if he was wounded, which he wasn't. There was no bullet lodged in him. So
all that to say, we're going to talk about this with the perspective of hopefully unbiased. You know, it's hard to not throw in.
I would say like
stuff.
look at this like a crime analyst.
Yeah, a crime analyst or like a historic. We're pretend we're 20 years in the future and we're looking at this from purely a historical context.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what the heck is up with the Secret Service though? You know what I mean,
dude?
That's not Republican or Democratic.
Yeah. I've watched completely biased, right? I've watched so many videos on like former snipers, former Secret Service men, like analyzing it, and no one can come to a logical conclusion of like what actually happened. Most like general consensus is that this falls under the shoulders of the Secret Service. Yeah, a lot of people are blaming local law enforcement, and then some people are saying that doesn't make any sense. Like they all have communication. It wasn't a miscommunication issue. This never would be, and apparently the shot was only about 100 meters away or 150 meters away. Yeah. And like the standard, like the minimum standard, if you want to like be in the army or soldier marksman status is 200 meters. That's like the minimum. So it wasn't a hard shot either. Yeah. So like you would think that they would be all over that spot, you know, like there would be no access to that roof. And even, and like, you know, there's countless testimonies of videos of people pointing out where the shooter was. Yeah. And nothing got done. And there's also this false theory going around that, oh, well, they were told not to fire, or the snipers have to get word, a green light to take a shot. That is apparently not true at all. Right. It's very Hollywood. People only think that because of Hollywood. Snipers have complete jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And
You have to.
it's their discretion essentially to fire. If they believe it is a threat, they take him down. They're not waiting for anyone's call. So debunk that. It just adds some more confusion then. So it's like, why did it get that far? And unfortunately, it was a success. They saved the target, but it also ended up in the horrible, tragic death of a hero.
Yeah.
A firefighter.
And he was just trying to go to a rally.
Yeah.
You know?
And then covering his family. It's like, man, heart goes out to him and his family and the 2 other people who were injured. But it's like, so this wasn't really like a success.
Right.
It was a success in like they did their job, but like at the same time, it's like it could have been
prevention. There could have been so much prevention.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. I don't always. I got a couple of people on Facebook who are like, I applied to the Secret Service and they wouldn't take me. I would have done so much better of a job.
Right.
I'm like, I don't always listen to those guys because they're just more so disgruntled. I'm like, look, dude, like you got to move on. That was like 50 years ago.
Right.
But I was like, I can't disagree with like the level of incompetence on their part because that guy was one rooftop over.
Oh yeah.
The direct rooftop next to the stadium was clear. That's not where the shooter was.
Yeah.
But the very next one to the left of the map I saw, he's just right there.
Oh,
and
you could throw a rock at him.
And from what I understood, he just walked up there or climbed, whatever. He just walking by with his gun, and he was like, okay.
Well, it's like he was 20 years old, so there's got to be a little bit of naiveness, but at the same time, it's almost like he knew it was going to be that easy. Like it's kind of creepy in that way.
It very much so is. I don't know what policy they're going to do now to be like, hey, let's not be so careless.
Yeah.
Because like you said, stone throw away, look up, there he is. And that's what happened.
Right. People were pointing him out.
Like, look, and then people had enough time to pull up their TikTok live stream and be like, what the heck is that guy? Yeah. And
they could even tell it wasn't a Secret Service guy.
Right.
Like clear as day. So
yeah, he's wearing like his college. He was wearing a YouTuber's shirt.
Yeah.
And the person's merch that he was rocking was like, hey, whoa, we didn't tell him to do that.
Right.
Can you imagine he's rocking a Third World Podcast shirt and he's like, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to make history.
Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah. You're right. $20 minimum wage is insane.
Oh, geez. He was McDonald's worker. No.
Yeah, right.
So, and then he had no ID on him. And then there was like no previous knowledge of like mental health issues. Like his parents were surprised by it,
and he was Republican too. Like he
was a registered Republican, but he actually donated to a Democratic organization.
Okay, I heard he donated to a Republican one.
No, it was a Democratic organization.
Okay,
it was called Go Blue or something.
Okay,
and they basically specialize in encouraging Democrats, registered Democrats, to vote on voting day. So that's their whole thing. So he's kind of like in between. Like it's again no ID. But they had to find it through, biometrics.
Right.
He doesn't have a clear allegiance.
100% accurate.
No clear allegiance. Apparently, he tried for the school rifle team. There's a school rifle team, and he apparently didn't make the cut. Interestingly enough.
You think he was just trying to like prove him wrong?
That's a weird way to do it.
What's that line from The Lost World? Like, the school cut you from the team?
I feel like there'd be easier way to do it, but no. I mean, like. Dude, and then everyone knows like it was mere like half an inch away from just death.
Yeah,
like
if I'm correct, as Trump was giving a speech, he like turned his head.
He turned his head to look at
do
a
his
graphic.
to do his normal thing.
Yeah, he was looking at a graphic on his screen, and then like he said, if he looked away from it, then he would have been dead.
In all honesty, his accuracy was probably spot on.
Oh yeah,
but it's because Trump turned his head at the last second.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And then once you miss that first shot, the other ones your adrenaline kicks in.
Yeah, he's just like going crazy, and then that gives counter snipers just like plenty of time to just go. So
and unfortunately, so the bullets that missed had us. They don't just stop after they miss their target. They keep going until they hit something. And unfortunately, it was now a fallen firefighter chief
chief.
Yeah. And it's like he just brought his kids. He was so excited. Like, we're about to go support our candidate.
Right.
It's such a shame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bittersweet. On the lighter side of that, they actually like put up GoFundMe's for the families, and they raised over like $2 million for families.
For sure.
Like, that's good.
Yeah. Trump supporters, their pockets are full, obviously, because they're all working.
I actually realized something recently is like, there are some people who hate Trump no matter what.
Sure. And
they'll always want the worst. But there are some people who are like definitely opposed, but like agree that this was a tragedy and agree that this was not okay by any means.
Sure.
I think former President Obama was actually one of the first like people of the Democratic Party or the Democratic side to come up and say this is not how we
Well,
do things.
all of
Like,
them,
oh, yeah.
Pelosi, even Biden.
Even Biden
Once
did,
he
yeah.
remembered what day it was, he was like, you know,
No,
and
so-
he even had to go back on one of his speeches because he was like, he said something about putting a bullseye on Trump.
He did 2 days prior, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even think that's what caused this.
Definitely not, but I
But-
do agree with. I did notice something because I was watching some political analysts about this, and like
Yeah,
the political climate right now is so much deeper and more aggressive than it used to be. Like back then, people weren't trying to character assassinate each other.
Mhm.
They're really just trying to debate for themselves rather
Mhm.
than that guy's evil, that guy's ruining everything. And now it's like the opposite. Like everyone's just like, okay, vote for me or else the country is ruined. That's basically what
yeah,
both sides, and to an extent, you know, both sides are like that. Like vote for me or democracy's over. Vote
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, you know, like
oh yeah.
and like there are a lot of people who compared Trump to Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And then one person pointed out, it's like, well, if you keep saying that over and over and over again, some people are going to take that seriously.
Mhm.
It's like, you're right. Like, that's just the climate right now. So I think what we're going to see is like from now on, at least for the next like 20, 30, 40 years, it's going to be a lot smoother maybe.
I'm hoping.
There's going to be, I hope so too, like a lot less just bickering
Yeah.
and verbal assault, you know, like
And I'm just gonna be honest. I think it started with Trump
probably.
because Trump's the one who just went for personal attacks. Like
He started the pot.
he
definitely.
started with your wife looks like a dog.
Yeah.
He's the one that started all that.
Call people losers.
Yeah,
Yeah. I remember
yeah.
that.
Like he kind of started that.
True.
For the most part, people were pretty respectful,
Yeah.
and so eventually, especially now with Joe Biden, but
Mhm.
eventually people switched to, well, let's just fight fire with fire.
Right.
If he's going to be personal, let's be personal too. So then
Yeah.
so you see Joe Biden start using the threat to our democracy. He's
Yeah.
a convicted felon. You
Mhm.
know, you just start seeing all the
Right.
mean spirited stuff. You know, and
Exactly.
like I said, I don't. Obviously, he didn't mean, you know, we're putting a bullseye on Trump.
Yeah, no.
He did not mean
Mhm.
to take up arms against anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, that's not what he meant. But then
Mhm.
he's like sitting here, he's like, you know, maybe I should reevaluate what I say. You know what I
Well,
mean?
To that, even if he doesn't mean it, I mean, like people from YouTube know that. You know, like even
Yeah.
if you don't mean it, like there are certain things you just cannot say. You have to think
Right.
about the ramifications, negative ramifications of what you can say, because
Yeah.
there are some people who worship you, and when you
Absolutely.
have that, like they're going to do anything, literally anything, throw away their lives. That
Yeah.
kid, the 20-year-old, I'm not going to say his name, but he knew exactly. He knew he wasn't getting out of that.
Yeah.
He knew there was no way to get out of that. He knew he was throwing his life away, as many shooters do. So, yeah, just tragic altogether. But this, I think it's also bringing a lot of unification. It's repairing a lot of wounds. Hopefully, it
Yeah.
sticks.
Are you familiar with? I want to get into like conspiracy theories a little bit.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
I don't believe any of these, but
Sure.
Eventually, are you familiar with why the guy shot Reagan in the 80s? Are you familiar with that one?
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah, so let me go back further. So, you know, like the first one, I think
Mhm.
with Lincoln, you know, it was racially motivated.
Yes, it was.
Right. So, and then you get to JFK, which was, I'm actually not sure what that one was about.
That's still kind of up in the air.
Up in the air, you know.
I mean, again, people dedicate their lives trying to analyze
Yeah,
that.
and
so.
and on that one too,
And people, I mean, like, there people think it was a Soviet thing.
right.
People think it was a Chinese thing. Some people think it was just like a crazy guy. Like,
Yeah.
it could have been a lot of things.
Yeah.
But
Well, because somebody, so that's Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy that
Mhm.
shot JFK.
yeah,
Well, somebody killed him, right?
right.
You know what I mean? And I was watching Joe Rogan talk about it, and he's like, "There's definitely more to that one." He's like, "You're telling me some random bar manager was like, you know what? He's right there. Let me go ahead and take care of business." You know?
I mean, like, it could be.
sure, but I don't, you know, but
Like, that was JFK was one of the most approved presidents
Mhm.
ever.
yeah,
And I mean, you saw how people reacted to Trump.
yeah,
Imagine if you get a whole bunch of like Trump people in
Yeah.
the room with someone who took a shot
Yeah.
at him. Like, I could see that happening. But the same way, yeah, it could have been a Russian thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or people think it was an inside CIA or
Right.
FBI thing. Well, it's
Right.
like, dang, like, I don't know, man.
we don't know because
We're just
there's
small
so many
fish.
unknowns on that, and we can't ask the guy because.
Right. He's dead.
You know, on paper, some bar manager was like, you know, there he is. Let me get him.
Right.
But okay, but then we get to the Reagan one.
Mhm.
Now let me just triple check before I start naming something. But let me look real quick. He's
All
still alive,
Okay.
and I can't remember if he is out yet. Let me see. Treatment. So John Hinckley Jr.
Mhm.
Okay, so Are you familiar with the movie Taxi Driver?
Yes.
Okay.
Love that movie.
Yeah. So what's the name of the girl? Jodie Foster. She plays a prostitute, correct?
Yes.
An underage prostitute.
Right.
Well, John Hinckley Jr. was stalking her. He fell in love with her in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in love with her, and he was writing her letters, totally stalking her. So he wanted to impress her. So the way he thought to do that was to, unfortunately, try and assassinate Ronald Reagan. So
Wow.
that's what that was about. He's still alive. He's still, I can't remember if he's released or not, but I know he tries for parole every year. And I think up until recently, I think he's out.
Really?
Sorry, let me look. Now that one, since he's still alive and can tell his side of the story, I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think that was any more than what it was he was just stalking her and he was trying to, released July 27th, 2016. Federal judge ruled that Hinckley could be released from St. Elizabeth's on August 5th. So he was released in 2016. And of course, Trump had something to say about it when he was released because that's when he was at his peak running against Hillary Clinton.
Sure.
So he was like, no.
Right.
But yeah, so he was obsessed with Jodie Foster, and Jodie Foster doesn't even like guys, you
Right,
know. But
yeah.
Anyway,
What did he do? Was he an actor?
the John Hinckley. I don't think so. I think he was I think he was another college student.
Oh, okay.
I think he was like, I think he was also stalking her on campus.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
And what's interesting says so Hinckley became obsessed with the 1976 film Taxi Driver, in which disturbed protagonist Travis Bickle, Robert De Niro, plots to assassinate a presidential candidate. Bickle is partly based on the diaries of Arthur Bremer, who attempted to assassinate George Wallace. Let's see. Hinckley developed an infatuation with Jodie Foster, the character, who was supposed to be a 12-year-old.
Right.
I think she was 12 years old in the movie. Let's see. Oh, he was trying to reenact the character from Taxi Driver.
Oh.
So he was trying to act like
Now
him.
that I did hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that reminded me, yeah.
So, okay. When Foster entered Yale University, Hinckley moved to New Haven, Connecticut for a short time to stalk her. So he moved all the way over there. His parents had given him $3,600, which now is equivalent to $13K with inflation. Oh, so they thought he was attending Yale. So he was. They gave him the money to go attend a writing course at Yale.
I see.
So yeah, he was literally just sending her love letters, poems, calling and leaving her messages. At that time, she was a reachable person.
Sure.
Nowadays, celebrities, you gotta find their numbers. You gotta follow them home and figure out where they live. Back then, she's just at campus at Yale.
Right.
She's going to class and he's writing her letters. I love you. And he's leaving her phone messages. So then eventually he's like, I'm going to impress you. So he tries to reenact the movie in a sense. And
Gotcha.
back then, Reagan's walking the streets. There he is. Hasn't changed much, I guess, but
Interesting.
That's interesting. And he's still alive, and he was released in 2016. So it's like I don't think there's a deeper conspiracy on that because he's still alive.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's the other thing too, was nobody's tried to hurt him, and then so you get to the JFK one, and then you get a disgruntled citizen that's like, you know what, he shot our president. I'm gonna,
Sure.
you know what I mean? So it's just weird to me. It's just weird picking and choosing what to believe in, but. I thought that was interesting. Presidential assassination attempts or successful, they're pretty interesting part of history. I was talking to Michael the other day, and he was like, history tests are going to be so interesting in the next 20 or 30 years.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They're going to say who lost the presidency once and then ran again.
Yeah.
4 years later against the same guy and won.
Right.
Or what. A, B, C, or D, and then A, B, C, or D, which president stepped down due to mental incompetency right before his reelection, and then, here's one. Can you answer? A, B, C, or D, which candidate lost the presidency, the Senate, and the governor? So it's going to be an interesting history test our kids are going to be taking.
Absolutely.
So... let's see. Conspiracy theories now.
Yeah, so you said there were conspiracy theories on this particular subject.
So I was watching Mimudahar, and he was like, he said, I wish Twitter was around when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated because all the conspiracy theories back then would have been insane.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But have you heard any or no?
I mean, there's the really famous one that it was staged.
Right.
And no one really brings up any
Right.
evidence other than it was super duper convenient
Yeah.
for the shooter. Other than that, though, conspiracy theories. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch where it's like, oh, well, there was a cop who apparently like tried to follow him up off the roof and then fell off a ladder or something like that. That's a theory.
Can you imagine being the guy that could have stopped the assassination attempt?
Honestly,
and you slipped, and you're like,
I wouldn't want to take it. I wouldn't want to be, quoted on anything. I'd just be like, walk away.
Yeah, I fell, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hide in that trash can. Nobody needs to know I did that.
So you're playing Hitman. The guy just NPCs off.
Yeah. I glitched out.
No, so. I mean, like, nothing super outrageous. Like, I mean, obviously there's like, oh, well, it was the Democratic Party that hired it. Like they got organized this. Nothing that's like interesting. There's the obvious ones that everyone's going to just like throw out there on the internet.
Yeah.
But nothing that's like, oh, the interesting theories is when there's a little bit of concrete evidence.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And that's the thing. So there's no real yet. There's no conspiracy theory because it kind of just happened.
Right.
Like not even a week ago, I don't think.
Sure.
So it's like, but give it time. Everyone's going to start blaming, Gerber Corporation and their anti-union practices.
I mean, there are some people who think that the Secret Service director literally chose shorter people to protect Trump on purpose.
Yeah. Well, there's another one that she's Democrat, so she purposefully. This is where you get into what you said about. Well, they held off. They were told to hold off on.
Yeah.
Well, people are saying, well, she was told because she's Democrat, she told everyone to hold off on protecting him to give the shooter a chance to.
No.
Which is ridiculous.
It's so crazy.
You know what I mean? Like there's no way you could cover that up. I'm sorry. Like everyone on the Secret Service, there's too many witnesses to like. Yeah, she told us to wait, and she didn't say why. She just said don't engage. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember the Uvalde school shooting?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did you know that chief just recently got indicted on eight counts of child endangerment?
Okay. Finally.
Yeah, finally. Well, when he told everybody to hold back, everybody knew about it.
Right. And that leaked immediately.
Yeah.
He was under scrutiny the day of. Like,
oh yeah,
it didn't take a long time at all.
Yeah,
because everyone hated it. Like everyone was like, "This is stupid."
Yeah. So that you bet if the Secret Service did that to the president, like on a national scale, in some cases global scale, everyone would know.
So apparently, again, like I said, word on the street is that Secret Service and local law enforcement would all be on the same comms.
Yeah,
the same comm channel. So the cops for like one cop probably would have been like, especially if like you were involved in this, would have been like, oh yeah, like 100%, like I heard what was going on, and like.
I don't know if they actually do share the same comms though, because then you're sharing the same comms with somebody who is pulling over a guy 14 miles away and trying to call in his ID.
No. So they would all get on a local frequency essentially, just for that.
Okay,
or just for that
maybe so.
Event,
I don't know.
Essentially.
I don't know. I've never worked with an actual Secret Serviceman. I've worked with a bunch of disgruntled rejects.
And that's another thing. People are like, well, local law enforcement, they're not. A lot of those people aren't used to working with Secret Service, so they're probably like incompetent people on that team. Who knows? Like, and honestly, Trump goes to. I mean, like all presidential candidates go to countless events.
Yeah.
All over the world. So like these guys are 24/7. You know, like full time. So like, not ever. I mean, obviously their job is to take every situation as if there's going to be something. And this time, they responded accordingly after shots were fired. But it's like there's probably some complacency that goes with that after a while. Who knows?
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I can't get in those guys.
Yeah, like you said, 24/7. You have to be like. There's some people that had to have been like, man. Nothing's gonna happen today,
right?
And like we don't have to check the roof; it's fine.
Yeah.
And then that's the day. That's the day the guy decides to walk up there.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I don't buy into she held back responding until way later. That we would know.
That.
We would know. Okay, there's no way they could get away with that. So that's one of them. The other one is the staged one gets me too. Drives me crazy.
It makes me upset. Like sick to my stomach, honestly. Like,
I agree. Somebody actually died. You know that, right? Like somebody actually died. And you're like, oh, it was staged.
Yeah. It was collateral.
Like, I was talking with my wife. Now, she told me afterwards she was messing with me. But before that, she was like, I think it was staged, right? And so, of course, I went crazy on text. I was like, okay, let's talk about this,
you
and
bring
then
up the maps and everything.
At the end, she was like, I was just messing with you. I was like, okay, cool, good. But before that, I was like, I showed her, I sent her, did you see the original assassination attempt in 2016 when he was still running.
Did I see it? I mean, I remember it. I don't remember the details of it.
So that one looked very staged,
Mhm.
okay, because and I'm mainly looking at Secret Service response.
Sure.
Okay. So in that one, there's a guy where everybody's like, hey, I don't think he actually pulled the gun, but everyone's like, he's got a gun. And then you see Trump, he's like, he stops talking.
That's the one where they pulled him out and he was like, get him out of here.
Well, in that one, okay, when there's a threat of a shooting, the Secret Service, they tackle the guy that's getting shot.
Yeah.
Tackle. You saw it this past weekend where when a bullet nicks him in the ear, the whole Secret Service tackles him and shields like you see in the cartoons where they're playing football and the kid holding the ball up is covered in people.
Right.
That's how they're trained to respond when there's a weapon. You know what I mean? And it wasn't his security; it was Secret Service.
Yeah.
Okay, so the same people that are guarding the president with their life.
Right.
Okay, when you hear gun in the audience and the only 2 Secret Servicemen run up there, they grab Trump and they just turn him around gently. And he no facial reaction.
Sure.
He doesn't say, "Let me grab my shoes." He doesn't get down. I also don't like the pictures of him on the ground like this, and everyone's like, "Look at him praying for our country." I don't like those either. But those are real. Okay, old people are posting those.
Right.
But in the original one, 2016, they turn him around, no facial reaction, and they walk him off stage. You know what I mean? And I was like, that is so staged. I'm sorry. Secret Service was just like, come with me, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. Nuh-uh. No way. Absolutely not. It's totally staged.
Yeah.
And then like nothing happened. Nobody brought it up again. Nobody cared. Like except me. I was the only one who was like, that was fake. So then you get to this one, and so everyone's like, it's staged. Like, oh, I don't think so, dude. Like the Secret Service, they dogpiled him. Like they should have from the get-go when something like that's going on. When there's a gun somewhere and nobody knows exactly where, and there's bullets flying and one hits they tackle him. And that was a way more
appropriate response.
Way more appropriate response. Thank you.
So apparently the reason he was like, "Oh, let me get my shoes," he didn't take his shoes off before. He got tackled so hard his shoes fell off.
That's happened to me before.
Yeah.
Let's see. It wasn't football. When did that happen? I'm trying to remember. There was a point where I'm trying to remember, but for some reason I got airtime. I think I was playing with friends.
Yeah.
And I got some airtime, and my shoes went. I remember I got kicked out of a concert. That's what happened.
Wait,
That's what happened.
That's a little bit different.
Very different. But the hired help lifted me up, and I was defenseless. So they picked me up.
Hold on, you just opened a can of worms.
I did. We can get to that during the scheduled break. Okay. There's still a lot to unpack here with this.
Okay.
Don't worry about me. Let's worry about the state of our country.
Yeah, I'm worried about you, but okay.
Yeah. So the hired help picked me up by the shirt to lift me out of a crowd at a concert, and as he did so, my shoes stayed where they were. So. Confirmed, it is a possibility that can happen. Okay, so so with the shoes thing, it's just like everyone tackled him, so your shoes are going to stay right where they're at. It's just science, Do
you agree with him? A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people have a disagreement with this. What do you think about him doing the fist bump? What do you think about that? Do you think that was a good thing to do, bad thing to do, irresponsible, or very responsible?
Okay. Irresponsible, but a good thing to do. So that's the part where I would say I won't call it staged, but when I watched it again on the way up here, and they were trying to carry him off. That's the responsible thing to do. Get out of there. If there's still an active shooter, you're the target. There's potential for more bullets to miss you and hit other people. Okay.
Yeah.
But I listened to him and he said, "Wait." Fight. Yeah. So he knows a good photo op when he sees one.
Sure.
And I think for half a second, once the adrenaline on that part, like, okay, I'm not dead, I'm alive. Once that wore off and they were trying to carry him off, like, hold on a second. I think he recognized a good photo opportunity to like, let me come at this from a position of strength.
Sure.
So he is a very good performer. He knows how to think on his feet.
Right.
He knew how on the spot. I have to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
If I had gotten shot, my first thought would not be, let me pose for pictures.
Sure.
Okay. But on the fly, he said, hold on a minute, let me pose for pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
All right. And so he knew a good photo op. So he rallied the troops up, and then they carried him off. And then he tried to do it again when they shoved him in the limo or whatever car that was. He tried to do it again. Like, no, get in. You know what I mean? He knows what he's doing. Irresponsible, but let me say this, though. Mm. There isn't a person who had a failed assassination attempt on them and lost the following election.
What?
Like, his approval ratings are actually, so much higher.
That's
now.
Actually not true.
Really? Who is it now?
Teddy Roosevelt.
I thought he won after that.
No, he was shot during a speech and he actually didn't lose, or he actually didn't win the election.
Really? Hold on, look that up. I don't buy that. Yep, nope, says Wilson bested both of. Yep, okay. Well, never mind, scratch that from the record. Cut that out. I don't know what I'm talking about. No,
but I think what you're saying is that essentially, if it was already like not a landslide, it was clearly like the political alignment's already in Trump's favor. This just sent it over.
Well, actually, though, I was going off of what Bill Mayer said. You know who he is? Yeah. Talked to. Well, he said that, and I guess I believed him. Mm-hmm. So without looking it up myself. Oh. But he's a Democrat, and he doesn't like Trump. And he said Trump's going to win.
Most people already were like assuming he was going to win. Yeah, and now this is just like, well,
yeah.
Now like you have Democrats like applauding basically, and like to go back on the fist bump thing. Yes, obviously it was a PR stunt.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I think it was maybe half and half.
Yeah,
part of it was also it's something that some of the old dogs would have done.
Yeah,
I think it's something classy almost. You're uniting people that way. You're saying we're not afraid.
Yeah.
Fight. We're going to be strong as a people. And that picture, although it is great PR, is legendary and will last generations past him.
That picture is so iconic.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a statue at some point. They're not going to make a statue of the flag. They're going to put a flag over a statue of him
100%
being picked up by Secret Service and him like it's going to happen.
It's one of the most beautiful photos I've ever seen.
Yes.
That guy's getting so much work right now.
Yeah,
but
actually, America, right?
That is something that I think every American citizen needed. To see was that a candidate who was finally again. I'm not pushing an agenda.
Trump supporter or not,
right? I'm just saying they need to see any candidate stand up to being shot, to be the face of death and danger, and to say no, like we're not, we're American, we're not going to stand for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that also deters other people. I think that's a deterrent for other people as well. When you see how strong, because here's the thing, there's some people, if he would have not cowered away, if he would have been brought away, some people would be like, okay, well, I scared him. Like, he got scared, I'm going to try it again.
Yeah.
And there's some people who are like, wow, he didn't get scared. Like, it did nothing. Yep. That shooter got nothing. In fact, it actually benefited Trump.
Yep.
I'm not even going to try it. You know, maybe. Like, it could be. Like, that's the kind of stuff that that's what people just assume, like, it's all PR. But, like, there is actually, like, a benefit, a cultural benefit to stunts like this.
Yeah.
That can actually unite people and make people stronger, make a country stronger. Like, other nations are going to be looking at this like, holy crap, like America's, they got some guns.
Yeah, I would say, so you gave me 4 scenarios: responsible, irresponsible, good, bad. Good, but irresponsible.
Sure.
Okay, like I said, if there were more shooters and if they missed again, there's more people behind them that could have gotten hit. But it worked out.
Short term, irresponsible. Long term,
it worked
actually
out.
Very responsible.
It worked out. Yeah, it worked out. Mm-hmm. No, I'd still say responsible, but he got lucky in the fact that there was only one kid doing it because he was rolling the dice. He didn't know, and nobody. Obviously, Secret Service didn't know. They weren't checking anything. They weren't looking at any roofs. So. Let me see. Oh, back to my conversation with my wife. She was like, so I sent her the fake assassination that was totally staged. Okay, and then she was like, well, that means that they devil's advocate. She was like, well, that means this time they made sure to make it look real. And I was like, yeah, they wanted to do so well this time they hired a 20-year-old to do it. A 20-year-old failed rifle team.
I do not. It's such a desperate thing. I don't know why it's getting any traction. It's so desperate, but.
Well, even my old teacher from high school, a hardcore Democrat, and he was like, if they wanted Trump dead, he would actually be dead.
Yeah.
I was like,
hire any former soldier, disgruntled soldier, or like
well,
whatever. Like,
well, he's coming at it from the perspective of it was fake. So he's saying like if this was real, it would have been real. You know what I mean? I was like, look, dude, I'm sorry. Like, why is it so hard to believe that a kid who's so easily influenced, so a lazy college student who didn't even switch his official political party officially, he didn't even bother to switch because he's a kid, and he forgot he signed up to get 10% off of his McDonald's 2 years ago, right, when his parents walked him in.
Sure.
Why is it so hard to believe that a kid was radicalized enough to do something like this? Yeah. If John Hinckley Jr. can do this to please a fictional character in a movie, why couldn't a kid read a blog and be like, you know what, he's right. I'm gonna. Yeah. He saw the Batman and he saw the Riddler thing. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. You know. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just some people cannot exist without thinking outside the box and creating a conspiracy or being like, they just want to be ahead of the game. Right. I'm not falling for this. It was staged.
That's true. They want to make a YouTube video about it, and then they get.
They want to start a stupid podcast and get some dumb views.
Honestly, who
stupid people. Yeah, God, idiots. But yeah, so really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So. Transitioning a bit, I think we got all that out the way. I agree with you. That picture is doing a lot more good than bad.
Honestly, our kids are gonna be asking, "Where were you when this picture was taken?"
I was dealing with other stuff.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But really interesting. I've never bought into voter fraud, even when Trump was saying about that last election, he was like, "Voter fraud. The election was stolen from me." Never bought into it. I didn't like it when Democrats said it. I don't like it when he says it. I don't buy it. I think, for some reason he complained about mail-in votes when mail-in votes were always a thing.
Right.
Okay. There wasn't some secret guy going around picking up everybody's mail-in votes and then putting them in the dumpster. It's not possible. There's no way. There's no way. Okay. But if Trump loses this election, I would start buying into those theories a bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would.
I think everyone would be.
Yeah.
Like
at that point, everybody would be doing some independent investigations.
100%.
I'd pull out my old Sherlock Holmes hat and pull out my old magnifying and be like, okay, I'm about to solve it, independently.
There are so many people in the Democratic Party, not just supporters, in the Democratic Party who want Biden out. And if he just so happens to win,
there are donors holding back millions right now if he stays on the ticket. So moving on from that, we're back to celebrity drama. Now, I hope we don't have any fans here of Tenacious D, because if we do, I got some bad news for you. They do not exist anymore, unfortunately. And that is due to, oddly enough, Trump's attempted assassination. So where were they at again?
They were in Australia.
So
they were doing a tour there.
As you guys know, Tenacious D is a band. It's basically Jack Black, right? He's essentially the face of it. And then there's Kyle Gass, like one of his best friends. They've been together for 30 years, right? And then it's them two. Then there's various other band members, but nobody knows who they are. And it's been them two. They're Tenacious D. Well, I think it was Kyle Gass's 60th birthday or something. He's old, right? And so they're on stage. Jack Black's ready to be he's got the candle and he's like, "Make a wish, buddy." And Kyle Gass, in all his wisdom, he leans into it and he's like, "Don't miss Trump next time." And he blows out the thing, and everyone's like, it's like a mixed reaction. The audience was like, "Oh, yeah."
Initially, people were like, "Ah."
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Ooh."
Jack Black's like, "Thank you." and that was it. Well, the blowback from that is they broke up the band. Yeah. So Kyle Gass's agency dropped him immediately. And I think you were saying Australia was threatening to deport him, right? Yeah. So it was bad.
Super big. And then that was almost borderline a threat. So you got feds coming after you too, as if you say something like that. So not a good position to be in. Definitely not.
It's the definition of too soon.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There was one joke we cut a long time ago during the Uvalde police shooting. And I in all my wisdom, this is why we will never do a live show. I made a joke. Yeah. I made a joke about it that everyone was like, "Ooh," Shaps was sitting here ugh. And Toomey was there and he was like, "No." Right. He's like, "No, dude." Wisdom from our producers. I was like, let me go ahead and cut that. You know what I mean? And it's gone, right? Nobody knows, and nobody would have known I did it except for right now.
Sure.
Right? So, too soon, unprofessional, like you said, borderline threat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's a larger discussion though about what do you think? Should he have canceled their tour? That's what they did. Was
yeah. I think
tours canceled, albums canceled, like all their future projects.
Like I don't think he had a choice. The blowback was so big that he really just didn't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's one of those things where I'm like, it was very uncalled for and just way too soon. And like, yeah, most people weren't really upset about the Trump thing. They were more upset about the fact someone died. In that. So yeah, it's almost the equivalent of like making fun of a school shooting right after it happens.
Right. Yeah.
So
who would do that?
Right. Should they have like canceled the tour? Honestly, I think he was put on the spot. He said the first thing that came to his mind.
Yeah.
Not trying to defend him, but like,
and they're a comedy group.
Right.
That's the thing. So he thought it was funny. He was trying to be funny, but again, there was an attempted assassination, and someone did die.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. He was trying to be funny, and it just didn't get jokes. There's a similar thing that happened. Let me make sure I got her name right. Let me see. Are you familiar with Kathy? I think it's Griffin.
Kathy Griffin, yeah. Oh, you're talking about the one when she held up the head of severed head. Yeah,
and that was it. Kathy Griffin. Similar thing. Okay. She and when we do shorts, I'm pretty sure I can't post what she actually posted. But you can look it up.
People block it out.
Just put up Kathy Griffin Trump joke, right? And she's a comedian, allegedly a comedian, and she thought it was funny to post a picture of her staring at the camera and holding up a severed prop head of Donald Trump,
right?
Parodying ISIS.
Yeah.
And
just the more you say, it's like, oh,
rightly so. Nobody laughed.
Right.
Trump took it as a threat. The Secret Service was like,
kicked down our door, basically.
Yeah. And I was like, bad joke. At the end of the day, when all the dust settled, just bad joke. Not funny.
Inciting violence should never be.
I don't know what she was thinking.
Yeah, honestly. But like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I fall on the aspect where it's like, oh, like all, comedy's comedy.
Sure.
Take everything with a grain of salt. But like inciting violence, you got to be careful with it.
And that's what happened. Like, yeah. So Kyle Gass was like, so what Kyle Gass is implying with his joke, right? But he's implying, do it again, but this time don't miss.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so, yeah.
Right. And it's like, well,
that's an international like security risk in that point because they're abroad. And so the Australian government's like, no, we don't support that. We don't support that. We'll get them out of here. Like,
yeah. So Jack Black hops on and he says, hey, I don't support hate speech. I was blindsided by the which that's fair.
Sure.
He was just trying to do something nice for his buddy, and he's a good singer. So he sang happy birthday, got the whole audience in. And it would be like, hey, Shaps, happy birthday.
Of course, me.
Happy birthday.
Like, I'm the one who's going to say something bad.
Like, hey, blow into this bottle here. Happy birthday, buddy.
Right.
He just said, I support Hitler,
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting here like,
oh, what?
Yeah. Or you said, a racial slur.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Y'all can fill in the blanks.
And it's like, what do you do in that aspect? And imagine, now, we've been friends for a while, not like how long they've been friends.
Sure.
So it's like, imagine 20 more years put onto that friendship. You're not going, I can't tell. Are people upset at all? Are people upset that he said it? Are people upset that they're bringing it up? Are people upset what Jack Black said? Like, what's general consensus?
It's all of it. But I think right now people are mad at Jack Black for throwing his friend under the bus. So I guess what I'm trying to think is, so Jack Black apologized, said Tenacious D is not continuing the tour, and they canceled all the projects. So effectively, they're done. Are they done where they won't ever pick up the guitar again? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can see them posting some songs on YouTube and winning people back.
Sure.
I think, honestly, they could have just gone back on tour and just waited for it to blow over, left Australia.
Right.
But you know how people go. Once your agency drops you, you have to kind of cut ties.
Right.
So Jack Black apologized, ended the tour.
After that, I think is when
Kyle Gass apologized and said, "Hey, I obviously don't support violence." You know, and he's like, it was dangerous. Yeah, you know, taking responsibility. He didn't, and you know, behind closed doors, I bet he's like, now he's secretly blaming Trump for Tenacious D ending.
Well, that's another thing. It's like, that's why I don't ever treat like any apology with like with validity, because I'm like, they wouldn't have said that if no one reacted.
Yeah.
If no one would have like booed them, and if they wouldn't have lost their contract or whatever, there still wouldn't have been. If they looked back on that, they would have left. There wouldn't have been an apology.
Right.
Like, they're only sorry because people got angry, because they got caught, quote unquote.
Because they got canceled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and every celebrity's like that. Like, I don't think there's very few celebrities I can think of who are like, look back at footage they said like a day prior. And I'm talking about 10, 20 years prior, you know, after the event. I'm talking about like, oh, wow, I need to apologize for that, even though people laughed or, you know, people didn't.
Think back to every YouTuber apology. They're not apologizing because they're actually sorry.
They don't want to lose their spot.
Do you think Logan Paul actually cares that he filmed a guy hanging himself in the woods?
No.
Do you think he, like, honestly, like, look me in the eye and tell me he's actually sorry? You can't.
No, he got his fake tear bottle, you know, and he sprinkled a little bit.
And you know what? I'll give him points. He's probably a good actor. You know what I mean? Where he those are probably not really sad tears, but they're genuine water from his eyes. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, he also did that really cringy. Remember he like was like, quote unquote, was he colorblind or something? And he put on those glasses that he could see for the first time, and every mom in America fell for it. You know, basically, it was that again. You know, like
exactly.
People called out for them then. You know, they call it from now. But I'm like, every celebrity's like that.
Every single one. So people are mad at Jack Black because he threw his friend under the bus and ditched him.
See, I don't think he did.
I don't think so either. I could end our professional relationship but still be friends with you.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you blew into my prime bottle and said that, you know, racial slur.
Right, yeah.
Well, we can't work together anymore. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or if I did it too. If there's like some major allegations that came out against me with actual evidence behind it.
Sure.
You know, and you can't work with me anymore. Like, fine. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fair thing. But are we not friends because of it? Maybe one of us would feel a certain way.
Sure.
But, like, did we throw anybody under the bus? No.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was just kind of, all I can say is just he was honest about the situation. Yeah. Like, he didn't say, oh, like, I would have never said that. You know, like, that wouldn't have been me. Like, he just kind of, he was honest. I was blindsided by it. Yeah. We don't support that, you know, like, obviously, and we'll get through this basically. Yeah. So, yeah.
Jack Black has much more to lose too.
That's true.
Because he's got so many irons and other fires.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in Tenacious D, Kyle Gass is kind of screwed, but Jack Black has all this other stuff he has to do, and he's got people to feed, and he's got stuff he's doing. He's got charities he's donating to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, just retire at that point. Like, for Kyle Gass, like.
Yeah, Kyle Gass. And I thought Jack Black was retiring from acting, but then he shows up in Star Wars. So
he does that, and he voice acts apparently. But like, those are cameos. I wouldn't say those are like leading roles or anything. So
yeah, he came back for Kung Fu Panda 4, which was like I'm told really bad.
I think half the cast didn't show up for it. So
yeah,
they even made a Tenacious D song for it.
Nice. Wasn't Kung Fu fighting, oddly enough. Now, unrelated to that, no, not unrelated. What's interesting is Gina Carano. Called out Disney because he's in Mandalorian, right? And that, you know, they made a joke about literally someone dying.
Yeah.
And nothing. Jack Black's fine. You know what I mean? They didn't cut him.
Right.
But Gina Carano's mad, and she's actively suing Disney right now, I believe.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, how come nothing happens to Jack Black?
Right.
And I get the hammer of God brought down upon me for, what was it, supporting Israel? You know what I mean? Or whatever.
It was comparing, well, it was basically making like World War II comparisons, bringing up the Holocaust and stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Like a stretch, you know?
Right.
And it's like, it was such a stretch and far out there reason to fire her, where it's like, okay, they obviously just don't like you and they wanted to dig up something.
It was like, I mean, it's pretty obvious whether you agree with her or not. It was her political views that people didn't like. Like, she got into arguments with what's his name, Mandalorian dude,
Jon Favreau or Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal got into arguments constantly with him, Like he actively would say, "Don't say this, don't say that." I mean, like, well, that's her words against his, but
Sure.
like I can see that happening.
Sure.
And that's just how that world is, you know. Like you have to, when you any corporation, you know, like or any like movie industry, like you're going to be on their agenda, like especially Disney.
Yeah.
So I think they just wanted her out. They're looking for ways to get her out.
They dug up tweets from a while ago.
She also went after Mark Hamill
Yeah.
because he was like posting pictures about Trump and like basically like, oh look, he's sleeping just like Joe. She's like, no, he's praying because a man just died. Basically, like, so she's definitely like rightfully so in some aspects, like going after like, hey, there's hypocrisy here, clear hypocrisy here, and they're never gonna say anything about it.
Of course not.
Right.
But she can add it to the lawsuit.
Sure.
And it does paint I think it does paint a really good picture.
Definitely.
Of like, they just wanted her gone.
Right.
And you know what? You can make up anything to get her gone. You don't have to reach. You know, if she's arguing with your main star on set, you could say hostile work environment, conduct unbecoming. You can, you know, but it's all this like, you know, well, her political views.
Right.
And then Jack Black. Now, again, Jack Black didn't say it, but his whole band is associated with
It's his name. It's his
violence.
Face. Yeah.
Hate speech. He's fine.
Right.
Don't denounce him. Don't cut his scenes. Don't recast him and CGI him over.
Yeah.
Like it's in. I really want to see how that case plays out. I really do. So
I mean, Disney lawyers, dude. I mean, not that they've never lost, but I'm just saying, like, that's a hard fight. I mean, she's got all of Daily Wire on her back. So
oh yeah, Daily Wire, dude. Elon Musk is paying for her.
Yeah, a legal battle. Yeah,
Disney's kind of screwed. They kind of met their match on that because they haven't made their money. Right, for a while now. They've been in the red. You know what I mean?
Especially after Acolyte. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've been in the red for a while. So it's crazy to me. I think we should end this episode out. I think that's all I had planned for this episode. But I want to say, on the note of Disney, if you are working at McDonald's and you're slaving away 8 to 5, or you work the night shift at McDonald's, you're making $10 an hour. Know that at the end of the day, when you collect your paycheck every Friday or every other Friday, however McDonald's pays you, know that you made more money this year than Disney did. And take heart in that, because you know they're funneling and hemorrhaging money in these big projects nobody's watching, or games nobody's playing. Right. So think about that. If you work minimum wage at a not McDonald's place that doesn't do minimum wage, right, you still made more money than Disney did.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Take heart in that, guys. So in a time of darkness and uncertainty in our country, take heart.
You're making more than Disney.
Yeah, absolutely. Making more than Disney, working at Best Buy.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Well, maybe next episode we can talk about the Disney hack that just happened.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, boy. That's going to be fun.
Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about next episode, which we're about to shoot. So thank you guys for joining us this week. And sorry it's been so long since we've been gone, but we are back and here to stay. So we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
See you later, nerds.